welcome to Conch Productions CSP Artist Chat for July 2025. My name is Magaly Colimon-Christopher. I'm the founding artistic director of Conch Productions. And today's chat, well, let me just tell you, we're going to have a whole series of amazing chats with amazing filmmakers whose work we're going to be featuring in CSIFF community screening on September 18th. Now, our guest today is Stefon Bristol, a Guyanese American filmmaker whose film See You Yesterday won Conch International Film Festival 2024's Best Student Film and Best Cinematographer awards. Hello, Stefon. How you doing?
Hey, what's up? I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm
Pleasure to be
doing
here.
great. I'm happy to see you here today. So let's talk about this See You Yesterday amazing film. Now, it was a student film that you produced in which
20,
year?
2014, 16, 17, 2017. Yeah, 2017.
It was your NYU thesis. So, what
Yeah.
inspired you to write this film? Because let me tell you, this film hits me in the heart every time I see it. I mean, I've seen it a bunch of times. Hits me in the heart because it's close. It's
Mhm.
close. It's. I'm not going to even give away the storyline. But what
No,
inspired you to write it?
back in 2014, I was like trying to figure out what I want to do for my thesis film. And a lot of students during that time they was making feature films as a thesis films, and I was trying to make my thesis film a feature. And it was summer of 2014, and I believe that was a summer where Eric Garner got murdered
Mm,
by a police officer, got chokehold.
mm,
And then it was just shy away from the verdict for Trayvon Martin.
mm,
And that was still, permeating the air. And I was living I was on Long Island visiting my family, and I was going through some family troubles, and I was watching Back to the Future on repeat, right? And I was trying to figure out. I was like, man, I want to make a time travel movie, but just these young kids and trying to they be black, obviously, and trying to figure out what story to be around it. At first, it was about a kid who's traveling back in time, just trying to stop his grandfather from killing his best friend through a drunk driving accident, which I wrote. And once again, it's that summer where police brutality and murders was happening, so there was a scene of police brutality jumping into my script, right?
mm.
And a professor of mine saw that. She was like, "Hey, you know, that police brutality scene is too big. It distracts entirely from, the narrative. So you either take it out or allow that be the narrative." I was like, "Great, you're a genius. I want to do that, right?" Um, and I was like, "Okay." So I did that. So I created a draft. And so I remember it was March. I came to my professors during that time in 2015. Again, my professors the draft. I was like, "Yo, I finished this second draft of the screenplay. I want to make a feature film out of it." It was March. I was planning to shoot it in June.
Mm.
Everybody read the script. All my professors, including Spike Lee, everybody called me delusional. I was like,
What are you talking about? What do you
what
mean
you talking? You,
delusional?
you going? Yeah, no, because I was like, how you make a feature? Like I make a feature script, trying to shoot it, during the summer where I don't have enough financing, I don't have the cast. Plus, they all looked at my short films I'd done previously
Mm.
at NYU, and they say, none of your work is really strong enough for any financier or anyone to back you and finance it for this film. So why don't you do this? And plus, this film that you're trying to make is quite ambitious for a first feature. So why don't you do this? Why don't you make a short film first, use it as a proof of concept, graduate with that as your thesis, and then go out to actually use that to help you get your first feature made.
How'd you
I
feel about that? How'd you feel about that?
I hated the idea at first. I hated it. It felt like I was like I'm not good enough to make that jump.
Mm,
But unfortunately, they was right. All my professors, including Spike, was right, and I'm glad I did it because it took a while for me to even do the short film. My mom had to refinance her home to give me some money. I hired two close friends of mine who were my Morehouse brothers, and they were terrible producers. So I had to
mm,
fire them, and then I had to beat the press for a couple of weeks and try to get myself up again from the whole fiasco of dealing with them. But then I found new producing partners, and I found Frederica Bailey, who was my co-writer for the short and for the feature. She was in the dramatic writing program at NYU, and she came on board and whatnot. And then we did the short film, and we shot the short film, and that short film went on to be in so many film festivals around the world, notably the American Black Film Festival in 2017. Was on the HBO short film competition, so that gave it a leg up. And then it won the HBO Short Film Award at Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival. So that even more of a leg up. So, and then, it created a buzz around the industry a little bit. Spike came on board. He asked me, he said, "Hey, do you want me to be your producer? I really love this project." I was like, shit, yeah, man, like, let's go. And to my surprise, I'm really surprised he came to me for it. And while the film was in festivals and being on HBO and whatnot, me and Spike and Frederica were working on the script. And then it came to time we was finally going out to pitch it. And then, before I even got a deal with anybody, another very educational moment happened for me. And that was me being his personal assistant on Black Klansman.
oh, wow.
Yeah, I was one of his personal assistants on Black Klansman. Another personal assistant I was working along with was Lauren L. Owen. She's fabulous producer, and me and her worked together to be his personal assistant. And I'm so glad I went through that process because I really saw what it meant to be on a real Hollywood, high level industry, set.
Hmm.
And I was really blown away on how, what it was real like. It was like an army taking over a small village. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think I had an education on making my little movies with my classmates and whatnot. I mean, and we had a lot of experience doing that. But when you go on set with all the trucks and just a whole bunch of people, and there's a base camp and this camp, and I was like, yo, I was overwhelmed. So, dealing with that kind of environment, seeing how Spike handled Hollywood or A-list actors, Adam Driver and Laura Harrier and John David Washington, seeing him how he handled that, and it was like this is quite the best education experience I've ever seen. And then after that, we was able to continue to pitch out in LA, finally landed on Netflix. Netflix access to really keep on working on the feature script, and we shot in the summer of 2018. So it took us about 5 years to make the feature. But
So,
anyway,
what brought you on this journey? I mean, you blend sci-fi, social commentary, family narrative, all that. Where did the juice from that come from? Where was the spark for this journey that you're on?
I I saw Do the Right Thing for the first time when I was 18 years old. And that's the first thing I ran downstairs to my mom, I know I want to do it for a living. And my mom was like, I'm not paying for your ass to study no film.
Film, film.
Film in college. No, I was like, man. So I wanted to study something else. I thought about being a teacher. I was like, hell no, I didn't want to do that. So I went to Morehouse College just to figure out, because I want to be in a Black institution and try to figure out my life. Long story short, when I finally got to NYU and I finally got made, the movie, I've always wanted to see Caribbean black characters on film. I've never seen it before. It's always African American stories, which is fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, if we ever in a movie, we're always caricatures more than real people.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? And I've always wanted to shoot in Flatbush with Caribbean characters, and I finally got able to do that. And I didn't for years I didn't know how to. So when I did the short film, it was very contained. And the real question is from the short is like, how do we really expand it? Because we already said everything we needed to say in the short.
mm-hmm.
How you make that into a feature, which is very dangerous. Because if you already said everything in the short, what's the point of making it a feature, right? So I said to myself, nah, I'll figure that out. But the thing is, it's like, okay, this film is going to take place in Brooklyn. But we're in Brooklyn. I never seen Flatbush before. So boom. So I blended in, the Caribbean neighborhood and culture into the script quite easily because I've been living in Crown Heights and visiting Flatbush for the last 15 years. So it's not, doing that was, relatively smooth.
Mm.
The hard part was the science of it all, which I'm not gonna get into.
The science of it all. Okay, you're not going to get into it, but I'm kind of curious. You got to give me a little bit on the science of it all.
Trying to figure out how to make a time travel real for a story. It's a lot, and it's a lot. I had to study different theories of time travel. I had to study the string theory. I had to study the wormhole theory, the multiverse theory, and at the end of the day, this is all bullshit. So I even went to a college professor at NYU that studied physics to help me understand all this. And at the end of at the end of the session, she said, just make it up because
So you mentioned a bunch of film festivals that the short screened in. Was there ever some audience feedback that made you go, "Oh, wow, I didn't know that about my film"? Is
no,
there ever some audience member that shared their thoughts on it that made you go, "Wow"?
for the short or for the
Yeah,
short.
the short, because that's what we're going to be
I'll be
screening.
honest. Yeah, I was be honest with you. There was a lot of moments. The first time he screened it was at BAM. I forgot the name of it. It was a really big festival at BAM. Uh, what's it? Brave New, not Brave New Voices. New Voices in Black Cinema.
Hmm,
That's what
hmm.
Voices of Black Cinema. It stopped now. I don't know why, but it was a great, great program. And I was really surprised, how many people was crying in the audience. I was like, maybe because like, I watched too many Quentin Tarantino movies, so seeing death is not.
Mm.
But it's so a bigger context. It's like, oh yeah, this is this political, realistic viewpoint. So I was really, surprised by that.
So you've had your film screened in a bunch of different film festivals. You've won at film festivals, but you won a Conch International Film Festival, a Caribbean heritage focused film festival. How,
Oh yeah.
what were your thoughts on that event?
Oh man,
How was that different?
I felt very, very special with that, and I really appreciate that because once again, this movie been made many, many years ago. And I felt conflicted at bringing it to the film festival because like I really had success in it. I think anyone else should be able to shine a little bit. But I said, you know what? What's the harm? I didn't know my film would be up for an award, so I was surprised by that. Quite honest, I would say don't do that, but I took it anyway. Um,
What do you mean by don't do that?
because like because once again, I had my own success. Someone else should have that success, already. And there was other great films there that I felt like it should be their time. But at the same vein, winning those awards and being there and able to shake hands with a lot of people in the audience helped me uh kind of helped me love myself again a little bit. I I went through some tough times after Breathe came out, my second feature film. I lost a lot making that movie. I lost a lot.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna get into
Like
details.
what? You don't want to get into details, okay?
I lost jobs, had was up for a big, really, really big, movie. And because of Breathe, uh, a lot, the movie has not been received well. So I got into this, what you call director's jail or whatever you call it, and I lost other opportunities, and you know, um, I lost a lot. And so I started questioning myself of what kind of filmmaker I am, or what kind of, artist I am. And I'm just like, wow, this is the most embarrassing thing I've been through. And then you invited me to show my film at your festival, and I'm, really happy I did. And meeting other Caribbean filmmakers and artists and business people. That was the main reason why I was there. And plus, to be out in Queens, a Brooklyn boy out in Queens, rarely do we travel to Queens. Shout out to Queens. So Queens need to be highlighted. But to win that night, it gave me a little bit of push to keep going. Because there are moments I thought about, just pivoting out of the industry.
And
So
I hope that you're fully vested into not being on a pivot out, but a pivot in. Is that what we're hearing? That you
well, we'll see.
still, we'll see. The journey is. So the reason why I brought the films together for this collection is that I really felt there was a through line of love as a theme, love and the impact on the Caribbean heritage community. What would you like people to take away from your film as the message of love?
No matter how flawed someone is, still love that person, because love
Mm,
is not a feeling. Love is a choice. If you love somebody and you say you love somebody, you stick with them no matter what. Because the feeling of love is not love, that's attachment. And
mm,
attachment can change in many ways depending on how much that person is creating your mood. But love is always action and a choice to do so. CJ, no matter how bad the relationship is between her and her brother, she's still chosen to love him by
mm,
action, to go jump back in time and save him, because she knows it's the
yeah,
right thing to do. So that's why I say,
yeah,
on the idea of love, don't lose somebody over circumstances. Be committed to the commitment. Don't be committed to circumstances.
thank you. That's beautiful. So, would you like to share what's next for you?
I'm working a couple of things.
You working a couple of things?
I'm working a couple of things, but I got to keep
All
that under
right.
wraps.
Of
But
course, of course, of course, of course. Well, thank you
but
so much. Yeah?
but Breathe is on all platforms. Came out 2025.
Yes.
Watch it.
Yes. Tell them all the platforms.
Showtime, Paramount Plus, Apple TV, Amazon, and hopefully sometime Netflix. I don't know, but there we go. This is 4.
There you go. No excuses. 5 places for you to watch it.
It's a good
So, thank
movie.
you.
I love my movie. The critics don't, but screw the critics. It's a good movie.
It's a
Wow.
sci-fi movie once again. It's a sci-fi movie once again. If y'all like sci-fi, you need to be watching it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Stefan. And thank you to everyone who's watching. You need to come see this amazing film. And I'm going to tell you right now, your heart will be opened and may be broken, but you will survive because it's that powerful of a film. It's a film that's going to leave you feeling. See you yesterday, September 18th, Queens Public Library, the Forest Hills branch, 5:30. Our screening of the 5 films starts at 5:30 and it goes on till 7:30. And there's going to be a Q&A afterwards. So there'll be time for communication. Yes, yes. So be there. Thank you so much, Stefon.